Hello everyone, maisth here. Welcome to a new devlog about Soul Catcher, the Moon Coliseum. In this devlog, we're gonna see a bunch of new exciting progress on the project. Stuff like new mechanics, gameplay footage, enemy AI progress, and even the voice actors we obtained. Finally, we're gonna be ending on a playtest that's coming in the near future. If this sounds interesting to you, then stick around to the end. This devlog's focus is primarily on the gameplay, which has seen some considerable progress, ranging from the UI to the mechanics of the player to even the enemy AI and how it has progressed in the months we've been working on the game. Let's start with a very awesome progress that's been done, and that's to the weapons the player will be using. In the past, the only weapon available to use was the one-handed sword, but now we're expanding the loadout of armament you'll be able to find in the arena. Let's take a look at the crossbow, a ranged weapon that will allow the player to inflict damage upon enemies from a safe distance. The only issue is that you have to reload it after every arrow shot. So you have to make sure to coordinate it and make sure you use it on enemies you want rid as soon as possible. Another weapon we have is the two-handed sword. This, unlike the one-handed sword, deals more damage to an enemy, but the caveat is that it takes a bit of time to swing, and also that it breaks more easily. You will have to decide with both swords if you want something faster to inflict damage, or something slower but that deals more damage in the long run. Finally, the firebow staff. This is a very unique weapon, because it uses a crystal that's imbued with magic, especially a fire-type magic that shoots fireballs. Unlike the crossbow, this weapon can affect a group of enemies and set them on fire for a while. A very powerful weapon, but one that takes its time in firing, and it also has a very low ammo pool, so you have to plan when to use it appropriately. You'll notice that every weapon here is at most situational and temporal, and that's the point. You'll never be carrying the same weapon all the time. You'll have to plan which one you want to use in which time. This is the roster for now. 4 different weapons and more will come in the future. We're really happy with how they're looking, they feel good to use, and most importantly, they are different from each other and offer a distinct functionality. But weapons are not all. What if the player at one point is so low on health that facing a single enemy is very much a challenge, or he needs a much needed boost to keep going? Well, to that comes sustain and power crystals. These crystals offer something different from the weapon crystals. They enhance or heal the player in one way or another. Let's see how the sustain crystal works. These are color green and are uncommon to spawn, so you have to make sure to save them or use them in crucial moments. They are as basic as it comes. They heal the player, its health or shield, and it can be done in an instant or over time. The power crystals, however, are more complex. They offer a boost in different ways, and they are purple to offer a distinction from the other crystals as well. Let's take the Rageful Damage power up for example. This one grants the player an increased damage boost in any weapon he uses. This is one power up you'll want to keep safe for moments where you need that extra damage to finish enemies quickly. Another power up is the faster movement speed. In case you're being hunted by a lot of enemies and you need to move faster to take them on, use this crystal to get the upper hand. There are more power crystals, but we'll save them so you can discover them for yourself and figure out what they do. Now it's time to talk about the enemies. Last time we showcased them, they were looking a bit rough. Some of the enemies still looked blocky, and their AI was still being programmed. But now we progress even farther. One core mechanic we've added to them is infighting. So now enemies will fight each other and not just the player. This makes the arena feel like an actual arena. No longer you're the man of the hour, but just another contestant in this place. One with advantages because you're a soul catcher, but a contestant nonetheless. This gives the player some unique gameplay opportunities. Do you wait until a group of enemies have finished killing each other off and then you jump in to deliver the final blow? Maybe you're feeling lucky and decide to take them all by yourself. Or perhaps You just want to cause even more chaos and decide to bring other enemies into the mix so they can kill each other. Each encounter will be different thanks to this system, but as a player you'll still have the same objective, to survive. But be sure to kill some of them, as that way you're gonna be gaining soul essence. That way you can upgrade yourself for future zones. At the moment the roguelite aspect of the game is still under development, so by next devlog we'll have something more definitive to talk about. Anyways, back onto enemies. The system is still in development and we want to add additional features to it, such as team-ups between enemies and enemies that have a vendetta against anyone that targets him. That way he'll never stop chasing someone until his target is dead. Now we're gonna focus on individual enemies. Keep in mind, some of these are still in development, so things may change in their behavior. Let's start with the most common enemy you'll face in the game, the warrior. In this case, the cursed warrior variation. This enemy is a fighter class type enemy. Not only will it have mechanics such as a dodge, block, and in the future, for future variants, the ability to parry, this is an enemy you'll have to think on how to face because of these different mechanics. Same as how you can dodge, block, and parry, he'll have the same tools at his disposal. It's pretty much a mirror version of you. One-on-one, he doesn't pose much of a challenge if you know what you're doing, but don't let him overwhelm you in numbers. Otherwise, you're gonna have to keep track of them big time. Another enemy that's gonna pose a problem in groups is the dog beast. This is a rusher class type enemy. This beast's whole purpose is to annoy you and overwhelm you if they come in groups. You do not want him alive for a prolonged time, otherwise you'll lose health very quickly. They don't care about their well-being. It's basically a Terminator. It will not stop at anything you throw at him until it's dead. Now let's look at a very cool one, the archer. This is a coward class type enemy. This guy will attack from a distance, and if you get too close to him, he'll basically run away from you. He'll also find vantage points to get to so he can shoot you from different positions. We are still working on this AI, but we want him to have the ability to flank and predict movements so you can suffer even more. There's also the Brute and the Spitfire, and while we have talked briefly about these enemies, we are still working on refining them, and we don't want to spoil too much about their kit. As well as other different classes we're still working and may be ready for future devlogs. Finally, we've been adding different mechanics that enhance the gameplay experience overall, like the UI. It looks more refined. It gives you information of the weapon you're holding, your crystals, even the soul essence you have, or the weight modifier that currently is happening. A cool addition and favorite of mine is things like the jump pad and the teleporter. This really takes me back to games like Quake 3 Arena or Unreal Tournament, giving it this more all FPS experience. Between other things that we've also added into the game are things like making the scenes, like the hub area or the arena, generally feel even better, with things like particles, sound effects, etc. A cool addition we also added is that we finally have an audience in the Coliseum. That's right, so when you look into the watching places, you'll see people cheering. Also, a minor detail we've added is footstep sounds, but not just general ones, but specifically the different surfaces the player can step on, making the immersion even better. There are so many of these little details we've been adding that listing them all would take too much time. Maybe in future devlogs we can sparse them around like this, so people have an idea of the different things we've managed to integrate into the game. It's also worth mentioning that in the time frame between the last devlog and this one, we actually managed to find voice actors for the characters in the game. At the moment we're still in the process of recording and making sure they are integrated into the game, but we'll have news about it on the next devlog. All we can say right now is that these three wonderful individuals are gonna be responsible for voicing the most important characters in the game. Soon we're gonna have a demonstration of them in game. I'll leave in the description their social media in case you're interested in seeing their previous recordings. And that's it for the progress we've made. There's so much more we could talk about, but I don't want to make this any longer. However, I do want to make an announcement of something very exciting, and that is that very soon we'll be opening a public playtest for our game. Now this will be a more concentrated playtest, meaning that it won't feature the roguelite or story aspect of the game, just the combat section, the arena in this case. This is mainly to test the balance and experience of the game with everyone, so we can finally get some feedback based on the actual gameplay. More news on this will come very soon. For now, I leave you with this information. Now, I want to thank everyone who has commented, liked and shared these devlogs or progress screenshots. It means a lot and your support is extremely valuable. We hope you stick till the very end, so if possible, leave a like, share the news with your friends and comment down below what you think. Also, don't forget to wishlist the game on Steam. It helps a lot. Thank you and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.